Hello, how the tech are you? This is our weekly tech show on Echoplex Media. We talk about science and tech news and any kind of science and tech stuff we feel like talking about. And yeah, we do that sort of thing. So I'm historian Matt. I've got a couple stories to talk about. My first one is just a quick word about this podcast. Hopefully it'll be real short. And then I have SBF found guilty. We talked about SBF last week, so this is a follow-up and should be a quick one on what happened because he was found guilty. And then finally, not a great story here, but I feel like we definitely need to cover it. But some teen boys used AI image generators to make fake nudes of their classmates, and that was not good. So you in the tinfoil hat, what do you have?
I'm Dave. I'm producer of this and all the shows here at Echoplex Media. I have two stories. One, Elon says that premium subscribers to X will get access to the new chatbot Grok. And then the Pentagon seeks UFO information from government employees.
All right. So real quick, I just want to say, a word about this podcast is basically we're putting out an edited version, a much shorter, hopefully much shorter most of the time, edited version that we hope you guys like. If you're hearing this word, this sort of ad for it, you're watching the longer version on YouTube. You may be listening to it on the sound version only. And check it out and watch it if you like it. And we'll keep doing it if there's a lot of excitement about it and everybody wants to do it. Dave, do you have anything to say about that?
No, not really. I checked it out. It was rapid fire, kind of like a fever dream, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Took out a lot of the pauses and extra stuff we don't really need to have in the podcast. So short version, rapid fire. It's good. That's all I got about that. I just wanted to cover it real quick. And so my second topic is SBF found guilty. So that's Sam Bankman-Fried was found guilty of defrauding customers on Thursday. He was convicted of all 7 counts. And quickly, I want to go over cover those 7 counts real fast, just so we know what he did, what he's convicted of. But so the first one is wire fraud on FTX customers, then conspiracy to commit wire fraud on FTX customers. It's a lot of pairs here like that. But the second one is wire fraud on lenders to Alameda Research, and of course, conspiracy to commit wire fraud on lenders to Alameda Research. Then conspiracy to commit securities fraud on investors of FTX, and conspiracy to commit commodities fraud on customers of FTX in connection with purchases and sales of cryptocurrency and swaps. Not entirely sure what swaps are, but that's what they have. And then the final one is conspiracy to commit money laundering. And let me fix lettering. There we go. So he was found guilty, but they haven't sentenced him yet. So we don't know what he's going to be sentenced to, how long he's going to stay in jail. He's almost certainly going to get jail time. He is exposed to a maximum of 110 years in jail, but that is the maximum. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get it. What do you think, Dave? I mean,
from what I was hearing during the trial, I think we talked a little bit about it last week. He saw to it that he was convicted based on his behavior in the courtroom, as far as I can tell. He tried to blame it on everybody but himself, and I think that did not make the jury like him.
I don't know. It sounded like it wasn't as much he tried to blame it on other people as it sort of was, but he also was like, I forgot. Like, apparently he said he forgot like 100 items or something. So like the prosecutor was counting and had this huge list of things that he said he forgot on the stand that was just absurd. But that didn't really help as a defense either.
Yeah, he said he was just doing what his lawyers told him to do, which was weird. And it seemed like for whatever reason, whatever he was doing made the judge not like him, and he was not allowed to present certain things during his testimony as part of his defense. And I haven't been following it that closely, but it just seems like this is another guy who like sort of thought he was going to be able to hoodwink the courts the way he hoodwinked everybody that invested with him, and that actually doesn't work.
Yeah. I mean, it sounded like he was doing those long rambling responses to questions, and that works sometimes when you're trying to, dupe people into investing in your company or using your services or something. But that's not going to work in court, and it just annoys the judge because the judge has heard it all before.
And I mean, they're not, the judge, it's not like the judge doesn't have anything else to do. So listening to somebody ramble is not like on the top of their list. I'm sure they're there to preside over the court hearing, but they also want things to be concise so that people understand what's going on and don't get confused by basically word salad. And it seems like this guy just either his lawyers didn't explain to him that he shouldn't word salad, or they did and he just did not listen to them.
Yeah.
Well, justice is done. I'm not a big fan of the carceral state. I hope they don't put him in jail for the rest of his life. That seems like almost an infinite punishment for a finite crime. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I'm guessing next week we'll cover it one more time when we figure out what his sentence is. But other than that, we're mostly done with that. Hopefully done with him for good.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll have the sentencing by next week, but we will certainly cover the sentencing here and probably on my Sunday show.
Whenever it comes out. All right. We move on to the next one. This one's a little bit this is more of a downer, but basically some teen boys use AI image generators to make fake nudes of classmates. It's kind of a duh that was definitely going to happen, but what we do about it is really the issue here. But basically, in October, boys at Westfield High School in New Jersey were caught using AI image generators to make fake nudes of classmates. The school believes now that all of the images have been detected or deleted by now, found and deleted. They didn't say anything about what method was used to make the original images, and if that has been deleted, you usually have to do some training and make models. We don't know if those models still exist or what. The school declined to tell the Wall Street Journal how many students were involved or if any of them were disciplined, citing student confidentiality. So we don't know exactly what the consequences were all of this is. And finally, and importantly, we also really don't know if the boys broke any laws because the laws around AI are lacking. Now, the article that I linked to goes into some depth on this. There's no federal laws, though some states have made, making fake images of anybody, regardless of what they are, illegal in certain cases and in different ways and on a state-by-state basis. I'm not aware of New Jersey having any of these, but it's something that we're all going to have to contend with. Well, what do you think, Dave?
I'm curious about if the girls were underage, which I imagine the odds are very high because it was in high school.
Yep.
How does this interface with laws around CSAM?
I don't know.
And for people who are maybe unaware, CSAM is child sexual abuse material. We no longer use the term child porn because porn is fine, and then putting children in it is abuse. So that's why we use the new term. That's where I'm curious. That's where I think not the interesting part of this, but that's where the criminal part of this might come in. And might be the first case where we find out about that.
Yeah. Well, there's another issue. I'm not really up on the law, and I've been following very closely. I believe you are following it closer because of crazy stuff happening on Twitter and other places like that, where people aren't doing a very good job of following the law or previous rulings against them or something. But I believe, at least in the past, somebody drawing somebody underage was not considered CSAM or something. But how does that relate to AI generated images, which are completely faked as well, but they can be very realistic?
Well, they also used a real person's face.
They did use a real person's face too.
That's why I said this is going to be, there's going to be some, and you know, maybe this won't be the case, but I feel like there's going to be a case like this that comes up.
Yeah.
You know, I read a little bit about this, and it turns out that the school wasn't the one who uncovered this. It was actually some of the girls who were in the imagery who uncovered that this was going on.
Okay.
Which is, I mean, they told the school, right? But that's terrible. Like, you know, this is all kind of anecdotal, and like nobody's willing to go on the record or whatever. But my understanding is in this, like, some of the boys were like giggling and, you know, hunched around each other's phones and stuff. And then one of the girls figured out what was going on and told the school.
Yeah. That makes sense. It was not in the article that I read, but that would make sense.
You know, I feel sorry for these girls. It's like hard enough on young girls, especially with social media and all that. And now, you know, they claim these images have been deleted, but how do you know? Yeah,
that seemed to be in the article definitely that I read, and I believe it. Like they were leaning heavily on the school believing, like they were definitely not saying it definitely had all the images deleted. I can very much imagine that some of these images were not deleted and exist and are floating around somewhere.
Or copied, you know.
Yeah. Who knows where they got where they got to, right?
Yeah.
How far they traveled.
It's real bad. And another problem with this is, like, there are organizations that fight CSAM, and what they do so that the people working there don't have to be exposed to all this is they have hashes of like images and videos. But if it's being made on AI and they're basically fresh images every time, there ain't no hashes of that.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a big problem.
Yeah.
And
like, you know, these are boys, like they in high school kids in general are not known for being very smart about these sort of things. So, I mean, they're smart enough to use a computer, but not necessarily smart enough to do the right thing. And this is going to be something I feel like this is going to pop up a lot. It's going to happen over and over again.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you can do about it.
I'm real glad that everything I read about this did not tell anybody the names of the tools that were being used.
Yeah.
That way, like, you know, I mean, it would be trivial, I guess, to find it, but at least they're not publishing the names of the tools so that, like other.
Well, I can pretty much guess.
Yeah.
I'm almost certain I know what tool they use.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's several, but yeah.
There's several, but there's one that is more flexible than anything else and is likely used this way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, we'll have to see what happens. I'm not gonna name it. I don't know. I don't know how to stop this.
Yeah, I don't know. It's another thing that's going to be a big problem for our society, and I don't know what we're going to do about it, and if we're ever going to, you know, get a handle on it.
Yeah, this is. I'm going to go ahead and say this is pretty fucked up. Not like even if it was adults, it would be bad enough. Like if it was at a workplace or something, it would be bad enough.
Yep.
The main problem here is these are like teenage girls, and so it's a real problem once the images start spreading. It's a real problem that the boys did it, but when the images start spreading, you run into other kinds of issues.
Yeah,
where other people who are maybe not, you know, students at this school might have access to these images and be spreading them in, you know, places where these kinds of images are spread. Yikes. Yes. Yikes. Yeah, I didn't cover this on Sunday. I didn't cover this on Sunday because it was a bit much and I couldn't find a good video hit on it, but I'm not surprised that we have it today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's right in line with stuff we've been talking about for quite a while. So on this show. So I felt like we really needed to cover it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think this is one of those kinds of stories too, that's after this first like round of coverage, it's largely going to go away until it happens again.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think it may end up because this happened and it was like with tools that were so easy to use on people's phones. I have a feeling this is going to happen so many times that people are going to, for lack of a better way to talk about it, maybe get bored with this kind of story after a while, after you start seeing it over and over again. And that's not great.
Well, I'm hoping with this one story and that's getting seemingly national attention, that more states and maybe the federal government will take it up as an issue and make some laws. Maybe that'll help out. Although I'm not really sure what kind of laws are going to really make much of a difference. But hopefully they can do something or start working in that direction.
A lot of states have like revenge porn laws, and I feel like we could probably have legislation modeled on the revenge porn laws. I feel like maybe.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, these are kids that don't think that far ahead, you know?
Yeah. And I don't know if they meant any harm by it, but they certainly didn't mean anything good by it.
No.
You know, young people, especially young men, have like kind of poor impulse control too. So this is just, you know, even adult men, you know, present company excluded, of course, sometimes have poor impulse control. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not confident that we can stop this, because you can't really outlaw the app.
Yeah.
You can say that the app's for 18 and over, but that doesn't stop anybody.
Yeah.
Because it says, are you 18 or over? What's your birthday? And it's like, here's my birthday. And they're like, okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I know I did that when I was, you know, even, you know, in the early days of internet porn, when I was, you know, 16 or 17 and looking at it, sites would ask if I was 18 and I would tell them yes. You know, that was a long time ago. And actually the technology around that hasn't changed much.
No.
And, you know, I think that the companies that are doing this are going to be the ones that would be able to stop it, because they're the ones making the tools that let you upload the person's face and then they put it on a nude body. I think that like the big company, the big popular one is gonna just have to shut down their app, I think.
Yeah.
And that's it. Because back in the day, if you wanted to do this, you had to manually Photoshop it. Like you had to like, you know, and it was hard. And it you know, these image generators are so good that, you know, most people haven't, you know, people haven't seen these people haven't seen most people naked, so they wouldn't know the difference between a real nude, even for adults, right? They wouldn't know the difference.
Right.
You would know the difference, but then what are you going to be like? This isn't really me. I might, you know, never mind. I'm not going to say
that.
And then like, oh no, there's just so much here. It's so fucked up. I'm so glad I'm not a teenager right now.
Yeah.
Although I did look marvelous.
I think these apps, I don't know if the apps are going to have to shut down, but I think they're going to have to change what they're offering and what you can do on them. Yeah.
Maybe even just a big watermark over that says fake, but I don't know. That doesn't even change anything. The image is still there.
No. Yeah.
Yikes. Maybe we'll keep an eye on this, but I'm like creeped out by this story, so maybe we won't keep an eye on it. Who knows?
We'll see. I'm sorry you're creeped out about it, but I think it's important. And if there's more news that comes up about it or legislation and stuff like that, I think we should follow it.
Oh yeah. I'm no stranger to covering things that are disturbing.
Yeah.
So this is just awful I just feel bad for the girls that this was discovered going on about. And I feel like this is probably not the only place this happened. And I feel like, you know, I feel like people are going to find out that this happened to them, and it'll have been 6 months and the images will have been circulating, and it'll just be horrible.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's my turn.
Yep.
First up, we got Elon Musk, or Elron Musk, or whatever you want to call him, says that premium subscribers to Twitter Blue will get access to their new chatbot called Grok. That's Grok. Grok is a chat GPT-like bot. Grok will use real-time info from X posts, which sounds terrible. It will be available to people in the Premium Plus subscription tier. That's people who give this guy $16 a month for Twitter. Oracle CEO Larry Ellison said there is a contract for this to use Oracle Cloud, And Musk, of course, claims that in some ways this is the best model that exists. Do you want to chat with Elon Musk's fucking ChatGPT clone?
Have you looked at some of the examples they had? I don't think you can use it yet, right? But have you seen some of the examples?
Well, he was pointing to some of the examples that were, I guess, kind of funny, right? It was.
Yeah, he was showing him like, look how funny our chatbot is, and it's not really funny.
Right, and he was saying that like for more problematic stuff, like here, I'll bring this up. Let me see if I can zoom in.
Yeah,
here's some.
Okay.
Hold on,
yeah, and of course we know he's not going to have any filters or I don't know anything to do with reasonable restraint on it. So it's going to be all Nazi stuff in a few days.
So the one that I have up here on the screen is somebody said, tell me how to make cocaine step by step. And then the bot says, oh, sure. Just a moment while I pull up the recipe for homemade cocaine, because I'm totally going to help you with that. It says step 1, obtain a chemistry degree and a DEA license. Step 2, set up clandestine laboratory in a remote location. Step 3, acquire large quantities of coca leaves and various chemicals. Step 4, start cooking. You hope you don't blow yourself up and get arrested. Just kidding. Please actually don't try to make cocaine. It's illegal, dangerous, and not something I would ever encourage. So I don't think the bot did that. I think a human being did that. Yeah,
probably. It's possible or likely that somebody went in and made that as a, their own version of or specific response to that question or similar questions. But it's not even like it's not even a funny response because they kind of screw up the premise, I guess you can say, with like, says get a DEA license, but I'm assuming if you do that, then you're allowed to make the cocaine for certain law enforcement reasons. But then it's like, then find stuff illegally, and just it contradicts itself a bit. Anyways, I don't want to analyze this joke. It's not very good.
I have a feeling Elon wrote that actually because he's like, oh, look how funny this is, and it's like, well, you're the only one that thinks you're funny, and you're the only one that thinks this is funny. So,
pretty much.
The other thing I don't like is that it's going to answer your questions based on real-time information, I guess, from the Twitter or X website. And that's not good.
No, it's not.
It's like, according to Cat Turd 2,
Yeah. Yeah, it's using Twitter as it's for its training data, and we already know how bad Twitter is.
And we already had an example of this. Remember that bot Tay that was using Twitter as its training stuff, and then it was just eventually like all straight up Jewish question stuff. It was always, you could ask it things and it would give you like the absolute most like Nazi answer in the world. And they weren't even like, they had no intent. I don't believe that Microsoft had any intent or any, like as an organization, they don't tend to have any sympathies towards that sort of ideology. It's just that it was trained on Twitter data, and Elon Musk has demonstrated that he thinks some of that stuff is funny, and he like has retweeted like great replacement stuff. So that's not great. This bot's going to be horrible.
Yeah, just saying it's going to be like 5 minutes and it's all going to be Nazi stuff, or people are going to start posting. Did you say when people are going to have access to it?
It didn't. It doesn't seem to say. It said that they're rolling it out to some people basically right away.
Yeah, people are paying $16 a month. I don't know who's doing that.
Some subset of those people are getting it right away.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing we're going to start seeing some examples that are not as funny as these examples coming out in the near future.
It's hard to be less funny than the thing we just saw, but also I agree.
Exactly. You know what I mean? They're going to be really bad.
Yeah, not impressed.
Not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, I'm not impressed. I'm not looking forward to it, and I'm not paying $16 to try it.
Nope.
All right. Well, I got another story. This one's a little more fun, I think. The Pentagon is seeking UFO information from government employees. This is not really new that they're seeking this, but this particular thing is new. There's a new online form for firsthand encounters and information by government employees. This form is not public, so cool your jets or maybe your plasma thrusters, as the case may be. The form is published by the all-domain Anomaly Research, Resolution Office, sorry. And this is primarily for encounters that happened in the past and does not replace the current method for contemporaneous reports. You ever seen a UFO, Matt?
Nope.
You never worked for the government?
Not,
Did you work for the government ever?
Define working for the government, because I was a government contractor.
Okay, so spy. Matt's a spy, everybody.
No, it's not.
Well, that's what a spy would say.
I was doing computer stuff. I wasn't spying.
I just thought this was interesting because there's already, I was like, well, is this replacing the system? And it's actually for like, the system that exists now is either exclusively for like stuff that like basically happened today or this week or whatever, or it is designed in such a way that it works best for that. And this new system actually is for stuff that happened previously, so that people can, like former government employees or even current government employees, but maybe they saw something 10 years ago that they remember like it was yesterday, can report. And it's just for eyewitness accounts, whereas the current system does actually like account for like instrumentation and other evidence, I suppose, other than eyewitness testimony or accounts.
Is this really for like trying to find aliens, or is this like, well, they're tracking anything that's a UFO, because UFOs sometimes are nothing, but sometimes they're, Chinese spy satellites or spy balloons. I guess that's what they use.
I mean, the organization did go to, great lengths to say that they have no evidence that any of the objects that they've ever, investigated have a extraterrestrial origin, or there's no evidence of that. So I don't think they're looking for aliens. And I honestly think that this stuff is to sort of, I think that there might be a way in which this is a bit of a distraction to sort of appease certain conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
But who knows? Who knows? I mean, it's interesting, whatever. I'm not against this. I don't see them, I don't see this wasting a lot of, energy or resources, because it's not like the Pentagon is short on resources, money, manpower, whatever. So, I just thought it was kind of a interesting story, and it's, with all the stuff that's happening, especially what was that guy David Grouch who came out with his testimony, and I hope the stuff that they're recording on this is more credible than the stuff we saw in front of Congress on C-SPAN. Some of that stuff was wild. It was like, oh, I saw an alien, but you can't meet him. He goes to another school.
I have not been following that closely, because it's, it's nothing credible ever. So unless it like something comes out that's suddenly super credible and the aliens are hovering over the White House or something, I'm not paying attention to it.
If they do, we better do exactly what they say.
Yeah.
No matter how outlandish, exactly what they say. This is interesting. I don't think most people who have like seen what they like an unidentified phenomenon or whatever, I don't think these people are lying. I think they're, they believe that they saw what they saw, and I either are mistaken or they saw something that they can't explain, but that doesn't, there's no real concrete conclusions to be drawn from that. But, more ways to like sort of report it, I guess, are better. And it definitely sort of clamps down on a certain kind of conspiracism that can lead people to other darker places where like, they're like, well, look, the government won't talk about this stuff at all. And it's like, well, they kind of have a reporting system now, even for people who saw stuff 10 years ago. So I just thought it was interesting. I have a feeling this is another one of those stories that we're never going to hear anything about again.
Yeah, probably.
And like it is, I think the form is available. So the other thing I think is people are going to troll it. It's going to be like the alien version of that VAERS system.
Yeah, probably.
So that's all I got. And I believe it might be your turn to close out the show, Matt.
I think it is, unfortunately.
Oh, people love you.
Well, it's not that. I just not big into the outro, but I'll do it. It's fine. So that's all we got for this show. Hope you enjoyed it. And again, we're going to have more highly edited version out as well. So check that one out as well. Hopefully people will like it. And yeah. So check out more of our shows on echoplexmedia.com. That has all our live shows, conspiracy shows, a lot more stuff on UFOs if you're into that. Also, we got a bunch of live shows on twitch.tv/echoplexmedia. And of course, if you got any money for us, we got Patreon at patreon.com/echoplex. Have a great Tekken week.